Welcome to Layers of the Earth. This is another lesson that I give at the beginning of the school year, just because it's a really good introduction lesson and it's something that we are going to refer back to a lot. I'll say, you remember the barosphere? You remember the lithosphere? So you've probably had this lesson before, but it's always good to do it again. Now, some of the things that we talk about before we go into the actual lesson is we talk about the story of the universe. And we talk about how everything came from that nothingness to something, how the drop broke off and formed the stars and the planets, and how our Earth, through heating and cooling and the dance of the elements, formed and became what it is today. The volcanoes, liquids and solids and gases, all of those things come into play in this lesson. Because what we're going to talk about is how the different elements and the different particles settled according to their weight. And that's a big part of the barosphere. Now, the barosphere actually comes from a Greek word, baris, which means heavy, and spheria, which means sphere. So heavy sphere. And turn this around. If you look here, you can see that the barosphere is the red part, and it takes up the vast majority of our Earth. It is very heavy, and the heaviest particles sunk down to the middle of the Earth, and that is the barosphere. Now, this brown layer, if you look here and you see this brown layer, this is the lithosphere. Everything that we step on, walk on, the plants, the trees, this table, is part of the lithosphere. Lithos comes from Greek as well. I think it's Greek. Yes, it is Greek. And it means stone. Okay, litho, stone. Now, it is not quite as heavy as the particles that went into the barosphere, but it's still pretty heavy. Now, the blue, you can probably tell, is the hydrosphere. Hydro comes from Greek as well. It means water. And so these are all the oceans, rivers, streams, all the water on the Earth is this hydrosphere here. And then finally, we have the atmosphere. And atmos comes from a Greek word that means vapor, okay? And so this pink layer around the outside is the atmosphere. Now, like I said, we're gonna use this lesson a lot. And the follow-up work that you can do, the most basic follow-up, is to make your own barosphere chart. But there's a lot of other things you can do. Volcano research, you can research rocks, oceans. I mean, pretty much any of the natural parts of the Earth you can do research on. Maybe you could make a model of it. I'm sure you guys can think of something, especially because a lot of you have had this lesson before. What I really want you to think about, though, is how the different particles settled according to their weight and how those different particles became our barosphere and our Earth. Thanks, guys.